So you want to know, is now a good or bad time to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Well, on this month's edition of First to Know, let's cover how buyers have stopped cold across the nation as it's very easy to measure. And then we'll dive right into how that's impacting Colorado, whether positively or negatively. And I look forward to sharing with you the news on what's happening in real estate. Well, thanks for sticking around. Let's dive right into this month's edition of First to Know. And as you look at what happened, the second mortgage rates increased over 6%. We saw buyers stop cold, and the biggest impact from what we saw in August to September in decline of available listings. We saw that reverse, and we are now 3 weeks in a row with rising inventory across the nation. We're roughly sitting at about 561,000 homes on the market. At the end of the year, we're still looking for the projections to be below 500 at that 490,000. And for context, what does that mean? Well, the only other year outside 2021 there was less available homes was in 2020. So that does share a little bit about our current projections on why people believe the housing market will remain strong. But let's also start looking at, as of September 1st, we had this point where interest rates moved past 6 to 6.5%, and you saw a large amount of people exit the desire of purchasing properties, which then led to some struggles for people who listed their homes, leading to 41% of people having to take a price adjustment to get their home under contract. Now, Phoenix, Austin, you're seeing some of these other markets over 60%. And remember, this go round, the biggest change is going to be that there are many different markets or segments that are performing at different levels in real estate. And the reason being is because this is an actual adjustment to market conditions, not a housing correction due to bad mortgage practices, which is what happened in 2008 in the last housing crash, or let's call it mortgage crisis. So as you start looking at this time of the year, we start seeing less available listings come to the market. And as you start looking at more discussion around rates, recession, jobs, all these things are going to be what we have to follow over the next couple months to look at where will we end and where will we start going to next year with housing. Now, as you know, across the nation, back in January, we were at 1.6 months of inventory. And remember, you just heard about how rates have impacted or stopped buyers cold in their traffic, so we can easily follow rates. And we know when they start coming below 6%, you're probably going to see a big flood of people coming to the market because of what happened when we saw over the last couple months, July, August, September. Now we'll start following the back end of the year. But if in January we're at 1.6 months of inventory, which is another indicator we need to follow, we are now at 3.3 months. So some of this available listings is obviously due to the fact of the available inventory and the time frame it's taking for homes that are coming to market to get under contract. When you go from where we were to where we are now, that's where you're seeing more price adjustments because a lot of real estate professionals or that of sellers are not educated on information like this. And there are a lot of real estate professionals who don't quite have the marketing practices or the understanding of how to navigate market changes like this. So let's dive right into then, how is this impacting Colorado specifically? And as you look at, the nice part is, last month from August to September, we saw a 1% increase in the average closed sales price. So we're seeing upward pressure in pricing, still at about a 9% year over year appreciation level. And the reason why we only saw 1% was, remember, we were falling over the last 2 months of July and August. We were seeing a decrease in the average close price of a home. Now, as you start looking at what is happening, well, guess what? Condos are increasing at about 6%. So as we see more people exit single family, we also will see more people enter into attached dwellings like that of condos and townhomes. And obviously, as you start looking at the demand or the challenges of pricing with rents, is this is a great area or segment where affordability will lead people to whether they like it or not, because it is an entry point for home ownership. Now, as we start looking at new listings in Colorado, remember that number we were talking about, okay? 561,000 available homes. We're sitting at 7,000 in the Denver metro area. That's our contribution to it. But we actually saw 2% more new listings coming to the market than we saw last month. So as we go through this adjustment, some people will become or feel more comfortable bringing their home to the market. And a lot of times that will be based off of lifestyle needs or change of events. However, we also know there's benefits to selling in Q4 and benefits to selling in Q1. So very important to take time and perform a strategy review with your real estate professionals. If you always know, I'm happy to point you in the right direction. The right people or here locally can walk you through maybe what to do based off your needs. But let's dive right back into inventory in Colorado, which is the inventory is at 1.6 months. So remember, nationally, the inventory level is 3.3. So when you read the headlines on what's happening in America, you have to then take that back to Colorado and what's happening here. We're at 1.6 months of inventory. Remember, a seller's market starts at 4 months of inventory. A seller's market, for all context, we're saying a seller's market, home prices continue to appreciate. So we saw zero change from last month to this month in inventory, and that is a key indicator we will continue to follow. But right now, all signs point to home values continuing to appreciate in Colorado. Now, the big change was days on market. The average days on market in July was 13. In August was 18. But as you look at September's update, it was 26. So the average days on market was 26 days, which was up 44% from the prior month. So what that means is when you're pricing a property, know that the list price used to be more of the floor and it would go upward and beyond. Now the list price is more the ceiling. And how do we measure that or know? Well, as you look at closed price to list price, or a percentage of that, if you remember, 3 months ago, we were at 100%, meaning on average, what you list, you got. Then it dropped to 99.5 last month. And this month's measurement was 98.9. So 1.1%. Part of that is due to price adjustments and another topic that we could cover, which are appraisals coming in under value. So as you start looking at the average close price to list price being 98.9, you need to make sure that you are strategic in pricing your property to know that it may need to be marketed for upwards to about 26 days, holding strong at a specific price point and not dropping the price immediately just because you're not receiving a contract. Now, as always, the first to know is brought to you to make sure you have exactly what is happening here locally in Colorado. Today's context wanted to give you a better understanding of how things have really changed based off rates going over 6% has paused a lot of people, but just get ready. They may be right back. So on the buyer side, that's leading to great opportunities for people right now to get into the market while there's less people in it. On the selling side, what you have to remember is looking at these time periods, because inventory, or when there's a lack of homes available, is the best time to sell. So you want to look at it from more of a micro segment around your competition. And the competition is based off location, size of a home, and condition. And those three conversation points should be able to steer you around pricing. But then when to sell your home is going to be based off your needs and strategically looking at these data points. So as always, thank you for your time. Keep you updated on what's happening in housing. And remember, keeping current matters. and what's happening in the market is very important when it comes to how to predict likely what we can expect to see over the next 90 days here locally in Colorado. That's continued appreciation while our inventory continues to remain low. So you want to know, is now a good time or bad to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Well, let's shut